Good evening. I'm Mary Ellen Marnholtz, a member of A Walk in Their Shoes, and we have several other members here. Can you guys just stand and wave so people know? Walk in Their Shoes, they're in the back, and Colin's up here. Today, across America, we honor the service of our country's veterans. We owe them a debt that we can never repay. No matter where you are on that political scale, one thing we can agree upon: our freedom and our way of life rests on the backs of the men and women who have answered the call to serve and sacrifice for it. If you are a veteran or an active service member, would you please stand? Thanks to each and every one of you. Our program this evening celebrates the core of this very American experience. 8 months ago, many of you were here to listen to the story of barbed wire baseball, a diamond in the desert, and American pastime. We are blessed to have made those connections with Howard Zenemura, Tetsu Furukawa, and Kari Yo Nakagama, because it was that connection that brought us our speakers today. Today we're going to connect that program with our guest speakers, Robert Yano and Robert Izumi, who were both put in camps after the bombing of Pearl Harbor, but made a decision that will not only shock you, but shocked many in the camps as well. Robert Yano and Robert Izumi, along with many other brave men in the camps, decided they wanted to prove they were loyal American citizens and that they had the courage to fight for the country by joining the military. They wanted to defend America against the powers of tyranny and evil. They were not drafted, they volunteered. United States was a country in need, a country under attack. And just like Caucasian American citizens and African American citizens, these American citizens wanted to do their part to help their country too. However, their country, America, didn't trust them, nor respect them as American citizens. Because of their Japanese descent and the shock of the attack on Pearl Harbor, America looked at them as the enemy. These American citizens faced much prejudice, suspicion, and distrust, not only from their neighbors, but from other soldiers, the military, and political leaders. Still determined and ever willing, they formed the 100th Infantry Battalion, which after training became designated the 442nd Regimental Combat Team, the more famously recognized as Go for Broke, their motto. It is a fitting motto, as they have a resume from their service that is matched by no one else. Listen to this. They have an extraordinary record, receiving 7 Presidential Unit citations, more than 18,000 individual decorations for valor, I'm getting goosebumps, including 20 Medals of Honor, 52 Distinguished Crosses, 560 Silver Stars, 4,000 Bronze Stars, and over 10,000 Purple Hearts. They also received the Congressional Gold Medal in 2011 in our nation's capital. Truly amazing. Words cannot describe what they went through, overcame, and how they persevered. It's my honor and pleasure to introduce to you the first of our 2 speakers this evening. Robert Yano was born on February 4th, 1924 in Kingsburg, California. He attended Clay Elementary School and Kingsburg High School, however, was unable to graduate with his senior class due to the incarceration in the internment camp at Gila, Arizona. He volunteered to serve in the Army, even while his family was behind barbed wire and under armed guards in the internment camps. He is a proud member of the distinguished 442nd Regimental Combat Team during World War II, which he actively fought in Europe in such campaigns as the Brières and the Bifontaine battles, I'm not sure I said those right, the Po Valley campaign, and participated in the rescue of the Lost Battalion. After the war ended, he returned to farming in California's Central Valley. He's been married for 57 years to his wife, Maseo, and raised 2 children, Chris and Randy, who are with us this evening. Please join me in giving Robert and his family a warm Wasa welcome.
This is my family here. That's my dad and mom, my brother Eddie next to my mom, and my brother Max next to my dad on the left side. And guess who's sitting down in the front? That's me. I want to tell you just a little bit about my dad. My dad came from Japan. He's from Hiroshima, but he left Japan, I believe it was in 1888, 16 years old. He left 1 sister and mom and dad. And it took quite a while I never realized until I came back from service. You know, when you're young, you don't think about your parents so much, you're always thinking about yourself. But I thought, well, I better learn a little bit about his life. So I asked him, why did you leave Japan? Leave your mother and father and sister? Well, I guess he says, in that time, they couldn't hardly eat. It was really bad. And the old story was, go to America, the land of opportunity. So he picked up a blanket, rolled it up, hopped a freighter, and went to Hawaii. He did a little work here and there on the sugar plantation, I guess. And then he decided the earthquake in San Francisco, they opened a lot of jobs, just manual jobs. So I guess not only my dad, but probably some of his friends went there to clean up after the earthquake. And then from there, he went into farm labor, probably pruning and picking grapes and doing odds and ends. But the saddest part is I don't know how he ever met his wife. That's my mother. But I think there was kind of a picture bride, you might say. Maybe my auntie might have had something to do with it. With older sisters was my auntie, but there was 2 of them, my mom and my auntie. And maybe she had something to do to fix that up. But I never had a chance to really ask her about her how she became to America, because due to circumstances, they had gone to Japan before in July of 41 to visit. They've never been back. The 2 sisters went back, and you know, I guess they figured that something was coming up, and the boat came back halfway, and they turned around. She got sick, and she passed away. So that's one thing that I had no chance to ask her. So I was in Italy then. So after that, that's lost. This is a little picture of me in Clay School. The school is about maybe not even half a mile from my place where I live now. It's a little clay school, and I think it was built in 1903. It's still there, and my daughter teaches their athletic department, takes care of all the athletic department. My son is the board president. He's been president there for 20 years. And now the school, the original school, is not there. They had moved it, remodeled, they built a new one. They moved the old one. It's still there in Kingsburg in the Historical Society. So if you ever have a chance to go out that way, go visit. You'll see the Clay School is there. So that's a picture of me, I think, when I was quite young yet. So I don't remember exactly when this was taken, but that's me. That's my graduation senior class. You see that crew cut haircut? Well, I think, you know, when I think about it, I was the only one that had a haircut like that. But I guess if you look at it now, I come in pretty good fashion if you think that everybody cuts hair short. But at that time, you got to figure everybody had long hair, just like you people out there with long hair, you men folks with long hair. But I did this. I don't know why I did it, but I did it. That's the somewhat Army picture, just relaxing. This is a picture that I took after I come back after service. I was already married, and my hobby was fishing, hunting, but this is one of the prize fishes that I caught. We didn't eat this one. I took a picture, but ate it later. This is another hobby. Us, the Neseis, which is second generation like me, after the war and everything, we came back. The sponsors, usually a packing house or somebody will sponsor a team, and this is the group that I bowl with. We're all friends. We all bowl together. Every week we bowl together. This is in Italy. We're just sitting there, a friend of mine, and you can see we're just kind of relaxing there, probably smoking a cigarette. This is another one in Italy. This is the top of a mountain. This is another one where I was on top of a mountain. You'll see that bandolier. I carried a Browning automatic rifle. It's a heavy gun, and you see that strap around, that's ammo that you have. You usually have 2 of those around you, and you have 10 magazines around your waist. It's a pretty heavy gun. It's a pretty heavy, what do you call it, but I always had an assistant that carried 10 bandoliers. This is another fellow from Hawaii, a fellow by the name of Otsuka. He was in my squad, and we're just kind of relaxing in the area there. This fellow is from Livingston, California. I met him in the concentration camp. I was in 23, and he was in 24. I never knew him, but he was from Livingston, California, and he went in the Army with me, and we became good friends, and that's him. This is another from my friends. I don't know actually where I didn't get to know him too much. He was, well, I don't want to say, but a little bit on the feminine side. But he was a good soldier. He was a good soldier, but he was in my squad. I must have had something there because I'm laughing something. I don't know what it was, but I don't remember. This is one of it's Livorno, Italy, if I remember right, is a presentation of some award in front of when they present the award. I don't know whether it was Mark Clark or this one high-ranking officers gave us some kind of a citation. This is another my friend. You see, we had friends all over. He's from Denver. He's from Colorado. This man was 26 years old. He was married, and we got to know each other, and I think he had one son, but 26, and I was only 19, so you see there was a lot of age difference, but he served. He came from Denver. This picture was taken at Camp Belvedere in Virginia, and when we came back, we marched in Constitution Avenue in Washington, D.C. That's where we had another award, and after we disbanded, we marched on Constitution Avenue. After we marched, we got together, and they took this picture. This is what I took. Somebody says it's kind of a rare picture, but I don't know. I think this is taken down alleyway. I went over on the Queen Mary as a troop ship. Queen Mary, I think you heard of Queen Mary. It's one of those real cruising boats. It's supposed to be first class. It was, but they converted it over to a troop ship because at that time, Queen Mary was probably one of the fastest boats. Didn't need no escort. Once you're out in the ocean, you're gone. And you didn't have to worry about submarines or anything. But let me tell you one thing before I dismiss this, but I was sleeping down the hole, and when you're sleeping down the hole, well on the bottom, you look up and you see the porthole, you see the water, and I always thought, if the torpedo hit here, bye-bye, I have no chance. This is the monument that is in Los Angeles. They built a big monument. All the veterans that served, it's on there. You can go there and punch your name, and you can find exactly where your name is at. Every Japanese American is on this monument in the LA. If you ever go down to Los Angeles, you can see it there. This is at the monument. One of my friends went there. We went together. It's there. This is a picture of the parade we had on Veterans Day in Fresno, California. And after the parade, a bunch of that rode the float. We took this picture together. This is I think it's a graduation at my high school, which I wasn't able to attend. And the principal gave me the whole works, the 100% with the gown and all. That's me for not being able to graduate with the class. That's another one. This is the Letterman jacket I was awarded. I played football, basketball, and track, and so they awarded me this jacket, which I didn't have a chance to get. This is my family. That's my wife on the left, right on the right of me. Right on the front there, that's my oldest granddaughter. She just got married. That's the youngest one in there. And that's my daughter-in-law. She's over here. She's just like my daughter. Then there's another granddaughter there. And then my daughter on the end. And then that not Oriental. He's not Oriental, but you see him? He's a tall guy there. That's my son-in-law. That's next to him is the oldest grandson, and next is the second grandson, and on the end, that's my son. That's my family right there. This is my son, my daughter, and myself taking the picture together. That's me when I went to Washington, D.C. to get the Congressional Gold Medal. I have it right here. I'll just take a quick show. It's not gold, but it looks. It's it there. I think the one that awarded us wasn't Obama, but that was Nancy Pelosi, I think it was, if I remember right. This is another of my real good friends, childhood friends. When we grew up, he lived about 1.5 miles from my place, and he's the kind of a guy that if I wanted $100 or if I wanted $5, it's just like a flash. You never question anything. A super, super friend. But I lost him here not too long ago. He passed away, and I think I really missed him because we had coffee, we'd go eat, talk, and we had a great time. Yes, good, long-time friend. This is, I had an opportunity to serve with Daniel Inouye, the congressman, and he was a sergeant when I joined. I just had one little stripe, but he was a sergeant. And of course, he was a man of, I don't know, it's hard to say because he was super. He was super, super leader. He just went up, he became platoon leader. And as you all know, and later on, he became a congressman, he became the ranking senator of the United States. I think he was right behind Senator Byrd. So, and one thing I want to tell you, I have a tape of him. I think it's called Journey to Washington. And if you heard him play piano with one arm, you'd be fascinated. And I have that tape, and I play it every so often just to listen to him play that with one hand. And I'm telling you, it's just super, super, super. This is the gold medal again. This is, I think, at the World War II Memorial Building. This is all the memorial building in Washington, D.C. I just want to tell you, this is when I went to, I think it's the flight for all.
The honor flight?
The honor flight. Yeah, that's what, honor, you've heard the honor flight. I was one of the first ones to go. I had a fellow named Paul Leffler. He's on the radio all the time. He's a super person. And he's the one that, that's me there at the monuments and everything. Washington, D.C. Yes. Oh, this is I was selected as a Grand Marshal of the Swedish Festival. I know I'm not Swedish, but I was selected to be the Grand Marshal of the parade there. They have it every year, and that's quite an honor. And I was really happy that I had a chance to serve there. Yes. This is one of my close graduate. We graduated together. His name is Roy Taguchi. He's still surviving. I don't get to see him. I used to see him once in a while, but I don't see him no more. I think he's around. That's the Grand Marshal picture. This is a presentation, a certificate, I think it was, in the Main Street, Draper Street of Kingsburg. That's my family and the driver. This is what you call sending buddy. I have it. I think it's in there, isn't it? Yeah, there it is. In Japanese, they call it sending buddy. Send, and I'm not too good at Japanese, but I always remember that. But send means 1,000 in Japanese. This you wear around your waist, and it's supposed to bring you back alive, in the Japanese custom. But since my mom wasn't there, it's not, one lady it's all ladies. It's each one of the red dots you see is a person. They don't put 2 or 3, 5 of them in there, one. So you see 1,000, this lady took it in the camp, took it to lady, whoever, asked the lady to put 1 dot, so 1 dot. Each one represents 1 lady. And she brought it to me and said, would you wear this? I said, yes. Do you know about it? I have an idea. Yes, I've heard about it. So I wore it all the way through my campaign in Italy for almost 2 years. And it wasn't this color. You couldn't see what it was. When I got married, I showed my wife, and she washed it with cold water, and that's what came out. This is just my uniform, and that some of the medals that I've taken there shows there. That's the same. This string of medals you see standing down, that's during the basic training. You're trained for, bazooka, grenade, rifle, machine gun. You train for all that. But when you go overseas, they give you a rifle. So what do you train for? I don't know. This is my cap that I got on, yeah. Let me explain one thing before I forget. You probably wonder, what does go for broke mean? I'm sure nobody knows what go for broke means. Go for broke means exactly what it means. It means you give all you got. Life or death, you go for it. That's what it means. Give everything you got. If you come out alive, okay. If you don't come out alive, God bless you, and then that's it. So that's what go for broke means. Give everything. Go. Never back down. Go. This is a Bronze Star. That's a Bronze Star medal. That's my uniform. This medal here you see there, it's when I was in the concentration camp, I had one fellow that I worked with. He was a truck driver, and I was a swamper. And he was a black belt. If you're familiar with judo, he was a black belt. And he says, hey, let's go out for sumo. And I says, I was familiar with sumo because I don't know if you people know what they wear around their waist. It's just a canvas thing around your waist, and you're, not much, just to covers your, what I mean. And I thought, no, if I get up in the ring and somebody pulls that off, I'll be stark naked. I was 19 years old, and, you kind of have a little bit of bashfulness you're feeling, I says, no, I don't want to go out there. What if they rip that off? I says, nah, they won't rip it off. So he convinced me, so I went out for sumo there. And this is the medal. I won a tournament, and this is the medal I had, won in camp, in the concentration camp, and I put it on my dog tag. It's been all the way to Italy, all the way to France, Germany, and came back. So that's what's on my dog tag. That's the dog tag there, and you'll see some other. There's some things that I can't show you, but there's a can opener. You got to have the can opener. If you don't have a can opener, you can't eat because everything comes in a can. Nowadays it's probably not, but in our days, everything comes in a can. And if you don't have this, you don't eat. So always in my dog tag, you had this right here. You see that? That's the prize of all. It's funny, when you're over there, you're always looking for a prize. You're looking for a souvenir. And a gun is what you look for. I did, anyway. So this gun here is a P-38. It's not, if you probably heard of a Luger. Luger is probably pre-World War II manufactured. This is probably World War II. They made it, and a major, I took this off of a major, and the major says, you're a non-commissioned officer, you can't take this away. So I said, sir, you've got that white flag there, you've given up. So I just reached over and unbuckled it, and I took it. He didn't say nothing. What could he say? You give up? Yeah. That's my picture. I have a picture, one more time. It doesn't show there. I have a swastika. You know swastika? That's a swastika I took too. I got this as a souvenir. That's a Congressional Gold Medal, yeah. This here is on my garage. It's on my shed at home. I kind of missed it the first time because I thought my granddaughter made it, but my son-in-law made it, and I forgot about it. I was notified later by my daughter, says, no, that was Steve. Steve made that. And I thought about it. Yeah, he did make it. He was living in the back. My daughter and Steve was living in the back, my son-in-law, and he made that. He picked up a scrap, and he made that for me. This is my truck, 47 Chevy truck. I use this for farm. I haul discs, everything on the back. I have a boom on the back, a boom. It's a bomber boom. I made it. I had a guy make the boom with a bomber hoist on the back, and I hauled all kinds of equipment. I still have it. This is one of my tractors I kept after I retired, and I still have that too. I had about 5 or 6, but I have one. That's it right there. I still have that. That's I painted it, everything. And not too long before I painted everything, my son says, Dad, he says, that thing smokes too much. So, just to satisfy him, I overhauled it completely so it doesn't smoke no more. That's it. Thank you for listening to my little story. Thank you very much. Thank you.
As I said before, through connections made with our past speakers, we are fortunate to have these two gentlemen here with us today. Robert Izumi was also among the 120,000 ethnic Japanese and their families placed in the internment camps after the bombing of Pearl Harbor. Robert's family was placed in Manzanar Camp, which was located in California. Fortunately for him, he was able to leave the camp and finish his education in Iowa. After graduating, he volunteered to join the Army, where he signed on with the 442nd, but then moved to the 101st Airborne Division as a paratrooper. The The 101st was deeply involved in fighting the Germans in Belgium and Luxembourg during the bitter winter of the Battle of the Bulge. He helped liberate many people from concentration camps and even made it to Hitler's hideout in the Bavarian Alps. Robert then returned to the U.S. and continued his service with the Air Force in 1947, later deploying to Korea to support that war effort. In Korea, not only did he serve with bravery in the military, but maybe more importantly, he served heart and humanity as he received a humanitarian certificate from the President of South Korea. His service to America's military and the world continued as he was sent to Vietnam. There, he received the Bronze Star for helping to save a downed pilot's life by negotiating with a village chief to cross their land to reach the pilot. True to his culture and his heart, he says he was only doing his duty and seems puzzled to have been honored this way. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Robert Izumi to Wausau.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bob Izumi. I was with the 442nd, but not as long as the gentleman to my left. I admire him more than anybody else because he gave more to me as I transferred from the 442nd to the 101st. Anyway, that's here nor there. That picture you see there, we are lined up, and if you look carefully, there's people there with white tags, and as we marched up to get that tag stamped and get where I'm going to live, which was 1643. I don't know if Robert remembers his barrack number or not, but I remember mine. And it was stamped on my chest on the tag, and everybody lined up to get there where they're going to live. And that was a cane that my dad, I wish my mother wasn't there. Anyway, my dad was a woodman, and he went out into the desert and dug this root out, and it was all twisted, and he put it in some kind of ointment or water and something for a week or so, and he straightened that thing up, and it became straight. I wish I brought it with me to prove it, but I still have it. And that, I don't know, like before, if the Japanese from Japan could read that. I took it to a professor, and he couldn't read it, but I really found out what it means manzanar. And I could sell that for a pretty penny, but I'm going to send it to the museum in Manzanar. And that's me with the company I was with, and I think I'm the only man alive out of that. And I don't know if you see me down there, if you can point it. Well, that little red dot's not there because he can't see me anyway. But well, that arrow there with a black thing, that's Jimmy Eno. He passed away, and he was a very good man, and he's gone now. And I'm right below Jimmy Eno with that hat. You gentlemen see it? Well, right, oh, there. Oh, don't faint now, but that's me. Yeah. Okay. And that's me in my, just like Robert has his Ike jacket. I still have my Ike jacket at home, but I didn't bring it. And that's Aubrey Jackson. He was the BR man. I was the ammo carrier, and he's gone. And that's the two gentlemen that we liberated in Austria. And this picture is taken backwards, if you can see. My my hat is on backwards, and you just got to reverse it. And this is after the picture. The prior picture is they're really skinny because they're out of the concentration camp. That's me in Bad Homburg, Germany. That's Aubrey Jackson and I making the jump in France. And that's me in 1945 in France. And that's me as a head man going up to Berchtesgaden. The man to my right is Captain Durwood Cann. And I didn't wear my helmet, and he got mad anyway. It was so heavy. I don't know about Robert, but that doggone helmet, I still have it at home. And I look at it, and I can do a lot of things to it, but I don't want to. And that's the honor guard for General Eisenhower and General Patton, and I'm where the arrow is pointing. And that's me on guard. And that's what we call snowball. It's snow, so some people already know what's going on. But anyway, that's snowball, and we found him, Aubrey Jackson and I found him in the snow, naked. So we went up to him, and in German, we said, "Was ist dein Name?" And that means, "What is your name?" And all he did was shrug his head. So Aubrey said, "Let's take him back." And with the GI blanket, we dressed him up in a jumpsuit, and that's the jumpsuit we made out of the blanket. And today I'm looking for the gentleman, but I don't know if he's gone. I'd like to see him, what he's doing, or how he is. I hope he's doing well. And this is the little girl I saved in Korea. And also I'd like to know what she's doing today, and I received the humanitarian. And I helped make what's called a Shingon orphanage in Kunsan, Korea, right outside the air base there. And this is the award I made that the Korean government gave me. And this is my brother Frank. He had a last name because like Robert, his father came, and my father, his father came way back in 18-something, because his last name is Camino. Don't ask me why, but my last name is Izumi, and he was the MIA gentleman, and he stayed in the service also, and he met me in the jungle in Vietnam, looked me up, and he passed away now anyway, he's gone. This is me getting the Bronze Star for saving that pilot. But in Vietnam, some of you veterans that was in Vietnam, you had to get okay from the village chief to rescue an American, regardless of what it is. But what I didn't understand is, why are we in Korea and Vietnam fighting, and we have to get permission from village chief to village chief, 3 village chief, to me to go get that gentleman out. So I went to my commanding officer and I said, okay, I know where this pilot is. And then my commanding officer says, but what did the village chief say? He says, you can't go in there. And he says, okay, you can't go in there. So I went back to my command post and I hit the button, and we scrambled a helicopter, Huey. We got him out, and in turn, I've got the Bronze Star for saving that guy, and I got reprimanded the same way. I don't understand that. Really, I don't. And this is me going out. I don't have a picture of me inside this, the boat, and I went up and down the Mekong River trying to find Viet Cong, and the guy was carrying a M60, and I carried a 45. And this is resentment that we made in case they shelled us. That's me in Canto, Vietnam. And this is a certificate. I was the second man, enlisted man, to fly 3 times the speed of sound, straight up, with Robert Al Johnson. I was the communication specialist sitting in the third seat. There's 3 seats in the pilot, co-pilot, and the radio operator in the back. And it was good. It was, going through the sound barrier, I don't feel it. You don't feel it. But you can look out the wings, and you can see the sound wave going through the wings. But you don't feel it like you feel it on the ground with a great big boom. And that's me. So you can turn it off. And that's me doing 100 push-ups prior to going up the hill in Toccoa. And the man in the red said, you can't do another 101 push-up. And I said, put your money where your mouth is. And I did another 101 push-ups on top of the mountain where we honored my commanding officer, Robert Al Sink. And this is the monument where eight men were assassinated by a Frenchman working for the Germans. And they were all 19 years old, as working as, well, we don't know for sure. I don't know for sure, but they were underground people. But this Frenchman found them and lined them up, and they shot them. And it's very hard, not hard, but it's, well, that flag, that's not a flag, but as I laid the roses on the man, they know the story. The man came up and asked me why. I said, I want to honor these gentlemen because they gave their life for me. They actually did. So he went back to his house, came back, and he brought scissors, and I said, what are you cutting your flag for? He says, I want to cut the flag for your honoring. That was my father. And he was just a little boy. He says, that was my father. And I go there each year. I'm going to go again this year, go back, I will lay my 8 roses for them. And I have a lady named the Katies. And when I'm not there on December, they'll lay the 8 roses for them. I'm thankful. I give them the monetary value, but to get the roses done. But it's an honor for them, honor for me. And this is the Queen of Belgium, and it was snowing, and she had high heels on over a foot of snow. It's unbelievable. I don't understand why she would walk with high heels in the snow. And that's the king there, and my wife is to my right there. And I gave him what they call a sphere. You know what you gentlemen know what a sphere is? Nobody knows what a sphere is? Anybody a lapidaris? Oh, it's bad. I'm going to get up and go. Anybody know what a sphere is? Oh, stand up. Explain. What's a sphere? Right. I used to be a lapidaris, and I have I have the equipment I have. As this gentleman said, I'll take a great big piece of wood, rock, and I'll chip it off until it's almost circular, and I'll put it in my sphering machine. It'll take me 80 hours to get that round and polished. So I polished one, those one, and finally I think I gave this gentleman one also. I got one left. That's when I die, I guess. I don't know. This is Bobby Bowden. Anybody know who Bobby Bowden is? Who said? You know anybody by the name of Bobby Bowden and Bill Bowden? Who is he? That's right. Anyway, he and his son came to Bastogne, and interviewed me, and they go each year to Bastogne interviewing veterans. And this is Gene Galbraith. I took him into this, help him take him to the house. Anyway, a sniper bullet hit him from the left and to the right, and it came out his back shoulder, missed his heart by an inch, and he's still alive today, and he's a very good friend of mine. And this is Helen Patton, and my wife, Romelia, gave her a Catholic, I don't know what it is, I'm not Catholic, but I believe somebody up there is bigger than me. So it happened. And this is the class of last year, senior class from, I forgot, getting too old. Where? Where? What? Oh, Phelan High School. Okay, see, I'm getting too old. My wife had to tell me. I married a jailbait. Anyway, you can laugh. I'm 90-some years old, and she's just... I'm glad you're all laughing. That's wonderful. Anyway, this is the class of last year. And instead of each year, senior class goes to Walt Disney for the graduating party. But this class said, we're going to honor Mr. Izumi. I don't even know him. Honor Mr. Izumi. And it was a great, big, long convoy with each of their parents and taking me up to Banzar. And it was something wonderful that I'll never forget. And this is me in Dodger Stadium honoring me that night. And also, see, what was the other one? Oh, okay, the Angel. This is Dodger, see? Don't get my age. Robert is pretty good, he's smart. I haven't got his knowledge. I have to think twice, and my wife has to tell me. And this is a victory, no victory in Valhalla, and I have a little swerve in there. And Ed Shames jumped in Holland, and he jumped in on D-Day. And he made it all the way up to Berchtesgaden. He retired as a colonel, and I know Mr. Ed Shames. That's it. You have any more questions?
So if there are some questions, you can raise your hand. Mary Ellen will run around.
I'm wondering, what kind of a greeting did you get back when you went back to farming in California after the way they had treated the Japanese Americans during the war? Did you have problems adjusting in that society? Did they accept you back?
When you came back, did they accept you in California? Did they what? Did they accept you? How did they treat you when you came back?
That's a good question. I think most of them were treated pretty good, but there was some trouble some places. But, you know, like everything else, the good outweighed the bad. In our area, there was a lot of good farmers, big farmers. I know one place that they even made accommodations for people that was returned from the camp. They made some Quonset huts, and everybody that wanted to live there, they had a lot of them. Of course, they had to work for the company, but they made available for them at least a place to start their life over again. So, like I say, there was some bad, but I think the good outweighed the bad.
Do you want to just stand up and ask your question?
My grandmother science counselor, wondering if either of you were involved in Normandy on D-Day?
I wasn't in D-Day, but D-Day in Italy. And it was on top of a mountain, and it was a great feeling. But D-Day, probably like Normandy, that wasn't where I was at. I was in Italy, way up on top of the mountain. And I should have brought this picture that I have. It's a picture of, if you all remember Mussolini. I took that picture when he was strung up like a chicken upside down with a wife mistress and a couple others. And I don't want to tell you what it looked like, but it was pretty bad. That wasn't the American GIs. It's what you call the Italian partisans. They're the guerrillas. Italians captured them. They cut the breasts off the mistress, and heavens what they did to Mussolini. But too bad I didn't bring that picture. I took a picture. I stood in the back, and I took the picture, and I know my kids, they saw it. They couldn't believe it. Thank you.
Were you in Normandy?
You asked the question about Normandy. I was not there, but my commanding officer, Lieutenant Kennedy and First Sergeant Brown, I know First Sergeant Brown and Kennedy, they're both gone now. Anyway, on D-Day, after the jump, Lieutenant Kennedy and Sergeant Brown, the First Sergeant, hit a mine and it blew up, and it fell on top of Colonel Lieutenant Kennedy at that time. And Flint Brown's still alive, but that's about all I know. And Captain Van Antwerp was killed. He was my company commander. He was killed as he hit the ground. So things like that I know and I hear from my comrades in arms. And I thank you very much.
So you people know the swastika. It was on the pagodas in Vietnam, and it's a peace symbol for hundreds of years over there. And do you have your CIB on the side of your cap?
CIB.
Yes, I have a company.
Would you show these people and explain to them that anybody who wears that has been in actual combat? It's an Army award only, which now they have the CAB. Instead of the long rifle, it has the bayonet for all the other Army people that have been in combat. Thank you.
So he wants you to show the people your CIB.
CIB, the Combat Infantryman's Badge.
Yeah, which is great, because when he's doing a book signing, which y'all are going to buy books from, then he can show you that CIB, the thing on your hat that says CIB. Yeah, so you're going to show it to him when you're signing that book.
Yeah, you want?
Yeah, you're going to show it to him.
Mr. Yano Mr. Izumi could correct me if I was wrong, but I thought that people might be interested. His penetration to Berchtesgaden is deep into the Bavarian Alps. It's near Salzburg, Austria, and it's where Hitler had the eagle's nest, his kind of hideout in Bavaria. So his penetration is way beyond Normandy and deep into Germany in his actions.
Our outfit, the 506 Company G, was the first company that entered Berchtesgaden, and prior to that, they blew up the, I don't know who blew it up, but that window was a foot thick. Glass window was a foot thick and over 6 feet long. and it was blown out. I don't know what other questions you want to know about that. You, oh yeah, we went farther. I went beyond Berchtesgaden. I went down to Selmsee, Austria, and I'll tell you a little story about that. We were hungry, so I'll think of that gentleman's name. And I was carrying the M1. He was carrying the M1. We saw a deer in the mountains. So I said, "Oh, Robert Parks. Okay, Robert Parks." I told Robert, I said, "I'll shoot it, but you have to gut it out and take it down." So I shot it, and he took it and gutted it down. But 60 years later, Captain Can, during that time, you had to pay the burgomaster what you killed. So Captain Can gave the burgomaster, I think, $100. So it took over 60 years to find out who did it. So in Genie, Ohio, we had a reunion, all of us. So then Captain Can says, "Before I pass away, I want to know who killed that cow." So this is true. Robert Parks says, "Oh, I know who did it." And the captain says, "Who did it?" He says, "Bobby Izumi over there. He shot it. He shot it." and I did shoot it, but I said Robert Parks killed it, and I did pay that. He did pay that money, and that was, I think, is in one of the books. And that gentleman talking about R&R, but I don't know if I never had an R&R over there. Yeah, I had an R&R in Vietnam. I never had an R&R in Korea. If you World War II friends, some of you, who's that? The World War II out there? Okay, sir, World War II, if you were in a company, did you get a quart of whiskey every month?
No, but we got a couple of bottles of beer every month.
You're a good man.
But it was New York beer, tasted terrible.
How many jumps did I make? I made 318. But wait a minute, don't say wow, because nowadays a jumper has more than 3,000. I know a gentleman out there, I don't know if he's here today. He was a halo jumper. Is he here today? I guess not. And he was a halo jumper, knew my psychiatrist, Seni Yohala, who also was a halo jumper. And he was the sole survivor of the Beirut bombing, and he gets in and out of that. It's pretty rough for him, but he's a wonderful man, and he's really helped me out.
Okay. Please join me in thanking both of our speakers, Mr. Robert Yano and Mr. Robert Izumi. It's truly our pleasure to listen to your powerful stories, and we thank you again for your courage and your dedication and your service to our country. In just a few minutes, Mr. Yano and Mr. Azumi will be in the lobby for book signing, but before we depart this evening, a walk in their shoes wants to thank our very generous sponsors who continue to bring stories of living history to life for students and communities across Marathon County. And they're many, and I'm going to share them with you now, so please be patient. MP&C, Berg Sales, Edgar Lyons, Edgar VFW, Edgar Legion, FFA alumni, Judd S. Alexander Foundation, Edgar J. Sees, B.A.N. Esther Greenheck Foundation, Reuter Ware, Wausau Rotary, Wausau American Legion, Bartels Parman and Pease, Gadorzi Construction, Wausau Kiwanis Club, Dan's Service Plus, Wausau Noon Optimist, Clover Belt Credit Union, Edgar Area Educational Foundation, Marathon Family Dentistry, Ministry Healthcare Ascension, ELM of Edgar, BAME Insurance, Marathon Cheese, the memory of Daniel J. Merkis, UW Marathon County, Wausau School District, Wisconsin Public Radio, Merco Foundation, Joe and Jane Heil, Pat and Alan Voigt, Dale and Amy Dalkey, First Impressions, Edgar Sport and Spine, Advantage Community Bank of Edgar, Fenwood Lions, Badger Basket, IGA of Edgar, Edgar PTO, CCT, Yankee Bookstore, Covantage Credit Union, Young's Pharmacy, Jefferson Street Inn, Color Vision, and Davsic and Varline. Please join me in thanking all of our sponsors. We appreciate the fact that these sponsors believe in our programming and in the very importance of our students understanding that history is happening to people just like them, all around them. We only need to look and see it. Thank you for coming, and have a great evening.